Hello everybody and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me as I try to show off the best of modern retro gaming. Today we're continuing our adventure in Coromon on insane difficulty. Coromon is a fun monster training game. The demo is available now and the game will be releasing soon. To check it out on Steam, the link is in the description below. We started off, we are still trying to level up some of our guys so that we can effectively attack the power tower here in a little bit. So that is what this episode is going to be mostly consisting of, is just trying to level up some of our character. Lumon is just now turned to level 11, which is good. He's our lowest one. I would like to get everybody probably to 18 before we go and do, anything else, go into the power tower, because it's going to be tough. And I definitely do not want to underestimate, like I did before, the trials that are there. So we're going to try to come around and explore a little bit, see how far we can get in here, and still be able to level up our characters, our Coromon, and do well. I hope you've been enjoying this series. I've been having a lot of fun playing the game. Hopefully we'll be able to get through this. I really hope that we can do the get through insane difficulty, because I played through hard and we were not able to complete the demo. I actually lost all my Coromon, but hopefully we'll be able to handle it on insane difficulty and do what needs to be done, is basically what I'm trying to do here, and level up as much as possible. At the beginning of every episode, I say that I'm trying to show off modern retro games, the best of modern retro games. But what do I mean with this? Sometimes you'll be able to tell just by what I'm playing, but I would like to get into that a little bit more, and go in explicitly, kind of what is the goal that I'm trying to present here, and what do I mean exactly by modern retro gaming. Modern retro games is a term that I use to what's the word I want to use to describe a set of games. There's two broad categories here, and the first category is which Coromon falls under, is a game that is made, that is directly influenced by a retro game. So it is a modern game that is made, that has a direct influence from a retro game. That would be Coromon. There would be a lot of games that would fall under this category. A lot of the ones that I play, it could be a game, it could be a genre, like Night Eternal. I did that on the channel, which is more of a a genre, the early JRPGs, than a specific game. So that's the first category, is those games. The second category is any new modern game that is made on a retro system, and there's actually a lot more. It really surprised me exactly how many of these there are, that are currently being made for the NES, the Super NES, the Sega. There's actually quite a bit of games that are being made right now for these systems, and you could either get the old cartridges, or a lot of times they're also released on Steam as well, or they might come to the Switch or the PlayStation, or whatever. But it's really surprised me about how many games are, you know, actually being made for these old systems. And that's kind of cool, but also a little bit frustrating because some of them do not come, you know, they just make the cartridges. And, you know, I want to see these games, I want to experience them, and I don't have all these old consoles to be able to, you know, to experience them. But so those two genres or two categories are the categories that I think of when I think of modern retro. Now, there are a lot of games that I think a lot of people say are modern retro or that are not, and vice versa. And I just want to talk about, you know, breaking that down a little bit more. If you make it for an old system, it's pretty much, you know, it is modern retro. There's not much you could, you know, say about that. It's made for a retro console. The one thing that really is a pet peeve of mine is when I cannot use a Lux Recall. I can't use any recall items. Is when a game is made out and it comes out and people are like, you know, it is pixel graphics, so it has to be modern retro or retro inspired, however you want to, you know, name the category. And I don't think pixel graphics is all that you need. I think at this point in the making of games or developing of games, pixel graphics can be an art style that you choose to use. I mean, a lot of people think that just because it's pixel graphics, it's modern retro, and they don't think about all the other limitations that were on the early consoles. That, you know, it wasn't just, you know, pixels, or it wasn't just, you know, a limitation of the, you know, to those 256 colors or whatever. But just because the Nintendo was 8 bits doesn't mean that it, you know, could make all those 256 colors. And in fact, the Nintendo had a really limited display set that it could do. It could only, you know, render so many colors on the screen at one time. You had only so many, you know, sprites on at the same time and stuff like that. So, you know, there was a lot of other, you know, limitations, and the new pixel graphic games go with those, you know, really, you know, I hate to say high def, that sounds kind of funny, but it's the really intricate pixel graphics where you're using the whole 256 color palette, and, you know, the pixels are really small and it's really defined, and that's not modern retro. A game that I think a lot of people think about right off the top is Special Attack. What else do I want on her? Is I've heard Celeste being referred to as a modern retro a lot of times because it is pixel graphics. And while I love the game tremendously, it is an amazing game and I would recommend the game, I do not believe that is a modern retro game because it's not, it doesn't have that direct retro influence. And again, like I said, it's using that full you know, 256 colors or whatever, that full pixel graphics, which is often was not the case in early consoles, that you would be able to produce that many colors. Another game that I think of when people talk a lot about, you know, this game is modern retro, is what I just lost the name of the game. Cuphead. People say that Cuphead is a modern retro game, and that's another game that I do not think is modern retro. I think the style of the game is more like, although it is a run and gun, which is a typical, you know, older retro styled genre, it's much more of a newer genre of bullet hell, in my opinion. And just because the graphics is in the style of old cartoons, I don't think that equates to another potent and not perfect. It's so frustrating. That does not equate to a modern retro game just because the art style is an old cartoon style. The old cartoons and gaming are two separate things, and you know, the fact that just because it's old cartoon style does not make it a modern retro game, in my opinion. If you believe that Celeste or Cuphead are modern retro, you know, feel free to let me know in the comments. Let me, you know, I would love to hear your argument and why you think that, you know, this game is, or even later if I mention one that I think why do you think it should not be listed as modern retro? So these are some of the games that I kind of think of when you know, people say that, oh, you know, it's modern retro, and I don't feel that it is those two that I think of a lot. Now, what are some games that I feel, you know, that are modern retro that might not appear to be immediately? A game does not have to be modern retro. A game does not have to have pixel graphics. In my opinion, and one of the top picks in that I can think of that I point to a lot in that thought process is A Hat in Time. If you look at A Hat in Time, has really nice, I don't know, I would say high-end graphics, but it's, you know, definitely not a pixel graphics game. It has a good graphics, but if you really look at the core mechanic of the game, it's styled exactly after Mario 64. Now, I've never seen anything that of, you know, the developers or the publishers to say that, oh, this was meant to be styled this way. I've never seen anything that said it was specifically inspired by Mario 64. But if you look at it, if you look at the game, you can see that, you know, you have a central hub, right? You have a central hub at which you go out to these different worlds, and in each of these worlds, there are multiple of an item that you can find. A lot of times you have to play a mini game to get one of them. So, you know, in Mario 64, you're looking for stars. In Hat in Time, you're looking for hourglasses. It's the same idea, though. You've got that central hub, and in that central hub, certain areas are closed off until you get so far in the game, and then they open, and then that allows you to go to a different world, board, level, whatever you want to call it, and go and search for more of these. So I feel that while it does not have the graphics that would be indicative of it, I think that the mechanics, from a mechanic standpoint, it is very similar, and I would even call that a modern retro game. Just a little break here, something that I've noticed while I've been playing that I think they've added recently that I have not noticed before. So when I go in here and you know, choose fight, here's my abilities that I can use. This one has that little green bar above it. This one over here has a little red bar above it. Now, I know that the cut attack is very effective against the Buzzlet, and the quad volt is not very effective of it. And I'm going to guess that is what those mean, which is kind of cool, but kind of not at the same time. I like trying to figure it out. I don't want to be told that, but I also can see on that, you know, hey, maybe some people are having a little bit of trouble figuring that out. I wonder if that is a setting in your sound, music, game, I'll just always run, just stylized, easy battles info, easy battles. I wonder if that's, I want to see that show. Enables the easy battle setting, gives you the choice to switch out a different squad. Okay. Different squad member when the opponent Coromon faints. Okay. I wonder if, I don't see anything in here that would specifically think that it would turn that on or off, but I would like to have that. I think that's kind of neat aspect for some people, but me personally, I would rather figure that out on my own. That very effective versus not very effective. So that would be a thing that is one of those things that I think that game developers should include, but definitely have a setting to turn off if I chose not to have such a thing. I love that has a cut attack, and I mean, they vary. Then when I'm against the Lumens, they very rarely use the cut attack, which it would be very effective against me, but I think that's really cool that I can take them out really easily. So there is, you know, so we're talking about A Hat in Time and how it's modern retro. Now there are some games that another maybe game that could be classified as modern retro that is not necessarily would be thought of at first. I would classify the game Streets of Rage 4 that's coming out as modern retro, and there's a very specific reason for this. Now the Streets of Rage franchise, you know, there's 1, 2, and 3 early on, and then it died. There was no continuing franchise there. The 4 that came out, although the graphics are better, it is stylized, it is inspired by the original franchise. Now a lot of times, now I don't know specifically about this franchise, but also a lot of times the franchise, the new game Streets of Rage 4 is not being developed and produced by the original game makers. Now I don't know, again, I don't know specifically in this instance. Now see, there's no red or green out here at all, so there's nothing very effective or not very effective against the Armado. So, you know, the franchise may have been, you know, the Streets of Rage IP may have been sold off a couple times in the years, and then finally someone bought that and, you know, decided to you know, finally make a game on it. So it was more, I think Streets of Rage 4 is more inspired by the original than, you know, because that franchise was not a continuing franchise, I would say that it was retro inspired. Now, there are some games that came out recently that talk about going back to its roots and trying to take inspiration from old games. Breath of the Wild, for instance, talked about when it was being developed, is that it's, you know, trying to go back to its roots and being inspired by the original, you know, Legend of Zelda game. Now, does that mean that that is modern retro? I would say no, because that is a continuing franchise. He's strong enough, I'm not going to worry about it. So that itself was a continuing franchise. Therefore, that one, the latest one that tries to get inspiration from the early games, my personal opinion is that it would not be modern retro. But there are a lot of games out there that would fall under, you know, this sort of getting inspiration from, you know, something and going with it. Now, I know a couple that have put out a lot of kind of I would say held responsible for making this concept of modern retro you know, rolling or get rolling. For instance, you know, a little segue is that, or not segue is not the right word, aside is you know, Super Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers one on the NES, was not the original platform. Obviously, there were many platformers in Atari and DOS and, you know, other early systems before that. However, I do believe that Super Mario Brothers was the game that put platforming on, solidified platforming as a I don't want electrifying, I don't think. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can make myself stronger, next attack could do 1.5 damage. No, you know, that's fine. I rather would just straight up do the attacks. So while I'm here, let's disable cute pose and swarm diversion. I'm not going to worry about electrify. We'll just stay with these two. So, you know, Super Mario Brothers put you know, platforming, solidified it as a genre. Now, where am I going? I'm gonna wander around here and get myself in trouble. So just like that, I don't think that Shovel Knight or Axiom Verge were the original modern retro games. However, I believe those are two very well done games that helped put modern retro gaming up into the forefront of gaming and helped, you know, propel that. I don't know if I'd call it a genre or not, but it helped propel that idea or that concept forward. I liked very much so. I really enjoyed. What level is this guy? I think I'm going to give him a health potion. He's 14 now, and I know that it's going to do good. The cut attack. I've played both Axiom Verge and Shovel Knight. I absolutely love Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is an amazing game. Excuse me. Is an amazing game that very well is a prime example of how they took aspects of different games, and it was a very popular game too, so that's a good one to talk about because it, you know, a lot of people know it and played it or whatever, and can easily, you know, you could easily describe it and people know what you're talking about. I think I'm a lot of, yeah. So it's taken several different aspects of games and put them together very well. You know, Mega Man, the board levels, in my opinion, are very Mega Man feel to them. You've got like the Super Mario Brothers 3 kind of top-down overworld map, and then the like down attack of you know, Legend of Zelda 2 are very, you know, prime examples of how that game was put together. They took, you know, those and probably others other influences, and put them together, and also put, you know, their own take on it. And that's one of the things that kind of you know, is an important feature of modern retro. Modern retro is not trying to imitate, copy, exactly another game. So we're not, Coromon is not trying to, be another game, another monster training game. It's taken a little bit of inspiration from that and put in its own, its own style, its own thought process, its own mechanics, and has taken that inspiration and changed it into something new. You kind of think about it, they transformed that inspiration into something new by adding their own, thoughts, mechanics, their own love into the game. And it's same for Shovel Knight. They have, they've taken these inspirations and, done something that, added stuff to them to transform that inspiration in something else. It is not trying to be that something else on its own. And that's an important distinction. I think that a lot of people knock on modern retro gamings because they see, oh, this game is just like X, and it's not, why are they doing that? Why don't they get a new idea or whatever? And the funny thing on that point is that hey, I just talked about them not ever using Scratch, and he just did. I really am super frustrated in not only the movie industry, but the gaming industry here with this constant output of remakes. Let's redo this story again or remake this movie, and I'm like, why? And all these again remakes that are coming out in the gaming industry. I want new ideas, which you would think might be a contradiction to what I've said before, kind of hypocritical. I love these modern retro games, but it's different. It's that transformative thing that you've got something you're familiar with. They transformed it into something new, and that is what I like about it, that transformation. What did they do with that to make it their own? And that's the key difference between these modern retro gamings and the remakes. The remakes, the remasters, although some of them are really nice. I like, the DuckTales remaster that came out a few years ago. I have that. I really enjoyed it. It's a fun game. So, I'm not putting that completely down, but you've got to also, it's getting too much. It's getting, too prevalent where, the gaming industry is trying to just remake everything, and it's becoming, in my opinion, a little bit frustrating because I better be very careful here. I want something new, and I think I'm just going to switch the squad member here. Would probably be a better idea. I want something new, and all these remakes get a little bit frustrating, in my opinion. That are we at a point now in the gaming industry that we can't come up with new ideas? And I know you think that may sound hypocritical of me coming from taking these ideas into something else, but it's not it's not that completely remake a game. It's taking the inspiration, changing it into something new. There's new ideas here that are not in other other monster training games. There's no new mechanics that are not in these other games. and that is what makes it into a something different. So let's see. I would like to get out of here if I can. I hope I have enough still that I will be able to get out of here. We have gotten him up pretty good. He's what, 14 or 15 now? So we're definitely have been able to level him up a little bit, and I'm just here yapping and didn't realize how long I've been playing here. So let's see if we can get out of here really quickly. I'm not sure where I am, or I can't use any recall, so there's not about getting out quickly. Yeah, he's level 15 now, which is really nice. I'm gonna switch him up, and then if I give him I'm not gonna use the stinky spray, but the stinky disc, I'm gonna give it to him, and I can take it off, but that should help lower the amount of come on, down this way, amount of random encounters that we have. And I think this is the way I want to go. Yeah, we still got a long way to get through here, or a long way back. Either way, it's not going to be a pleasant trip. Let's see how well. Yeah, I forgot that I've had that guy up there for so long. See, here you go, 2 greens. So yeah, our Houndos is going to go down quickly. So now we're doing rather good with that. We and I don't really need the stinky sprays. If I wanted to, I really could just use the stinky spray to get through, because I don't have to be in here anymore. The only reason I'm in the Cave of Thunders right now is to level up the dude. And I got lost in the twilight. What is his name? Totally forgot his Lumon, to level him up a little bit. And I think at level 15, I really want some. I really need something to be stronger, though. I definitely could use something that would be come on, a little bit stronger. 15 is pretty low. Like I said, I would like to get everybody up to 18 before I get into the power tower. Now, I might not end up doing that. I think like a bunch of 17s and a 15 would probably be sufficient enough. I know if I go in and fight a level 16 or something, it's going to get he's my tank, so we go with defense on him. You know, probably be sufficient. Do I have all 17s? Yeah, I got 115, 118, and the rest are 17. Let's see. I know there's other trainers up here, so I do got to be careful what's just up this way, I believe. So let's see if we can get through. Yeah, right here takes me up to the... Oh, whoa. Oh, I got another lure here on this 3rd level. Is this the way to the... I didn't notice this is a whole new level. That Lux lure came out again, so I could get another. I have another chance of getting something. I don't think I'm going to use it because I don't really want to spend the time trying to level up another character unless I lose one. Then I know I can come back and use it here with these. The Lux lures coming out on this. I really need to get out of here. I really want to just finish. I like to finish on the outside of a cave. Oh, with the Lux lure thing working on what's the word I want to use, on these different levels of the Thunderous Cave. I wonder also if the Lux lore is going to work on the different levels of the Power Tower. And I originally were thinking no, because there's no random encounters there. You're just fighting the trainers or the enemies. But maybe, and I missed, come on. It might be possible. So let's see. I didn't think there was a third level here, so I might be somewhere way off, and that not necessarily would be a good thing. Let's see if, oh, there's a, yeah, I think this might be the right way. Is it this? I think it's right up here. Yeah, there we go. We made it. Woohoo! Actually, what I want to do, I actually do want to run over really quickly and see if the let's get out of here. See if the levels on the Power Tower also, so we got the 3 levels of the Thunderous Cave that allow us to get catch Coromon, and yeah, I can probably get a Houndos or something really nice, but let's see. Nope. So the Power Tower does not give us, at least on the first level, does not give us the Lux lore, and that's probably what I was thinking. You can't lure in Coromon when there's no wild Coromon there. So not sure, I kind of lost track, but it's like 7 or 8 places that it looks like that you can get a Coromon on in insane difficulty. The Lux lore is a nice new item that makes it easy. You just go into the new area, and you know, I think no, some, oh, move item. Yeah, I think I could just take the take item. Yeah, just give it off them, taking them off of him. I was told also, and I don't think there's any in here, but these fruit that you have can be planted in little pots. We might have to go check that out in the next episode. I wanted to make sure I mentioned it because I don't want the person that told me that to get all mad. Well, you did it. I know, I saw your comment. I will check it out in the next episode. I just didn't think about it until I was finishing up the episode, and I don't want this, we've already gone along, and I don't want it to get any longer. So yeah, we're gonna end our episode there. We actually did very well. He's now level 15. I would probably like to have him up, everybody up to 18. I really will probably take next episode and do another little leveling, and then talk about a random subject like I did today in this episode that would be part of, you know, the what I'm trying to promote here, you know, some kind of subject that is involved in this. Again, if there are, you know, a modern retro game that you think of, let me know. If you would like to see me do a specific game that you are interested in and it's modern retro, let me know in the comments below. If there's a game that I mentioned that was or was not and you disagree with me, put your argument down in the comments below. Also, I would love to know your reasoning for if a game is or is not modern retro. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye everybody.